If you left the United States and found yourself feeling distracted, unsettled, or emotionally out of place, this isn't homesickness, and it's not regret. It's what happens when you step out of a system that was quietly organizing your identity. Most people assume that if you feel strange after moving abroad, it must mean you miss home. They call it homesickness because that's the closest word they have. But homesickness is about longing. What you're feeling is something else entirely. Leaving the US comes with an expectation that once you're gone, things will feel lighter. They'll feel slower, clearer, less tense. And at first, they usually do. Your body relaxes, you can exhale, the background pressure fades, but then, without warning, something replaces it. Not panic, not sadness, just a low, persistent sense that something is off. This feeling is confusing because nothing is obviously wrong. You're safe, you're functioning, you might even be happier in measurable ways. Yet internally, something isn't settled. And because the feeling arrives after relief, people don't know how to categorize it. So they default to the closest label they've been taught: homesickness. But that label doesn't fit. Homesickness is directional, it pulls you backward. It's about missing people, missing places, routines. What you're experiencing doesn't pull you backward, it suspends you. You don't feel called to return, you just don't feel fully located where you are. That's the difference. When you leave the US, you don't just change geography, you step out of an organizing system, a system that structured your sense of urgency, your relationship with time, your internal definition of progress, how you measure yourself against others. That system doesn't disappear, it just stops being reinforced. The relief you feel at first isn't freedom, it's decompression. You're no longer being pushed by deadlines, comparison, cultural momentum. But once that pressure fades, something else becomes noticeable. You're no longer being directed, and direction, even when stressful, provides orientation. This is the moment people struggle to talk about. You wake up one day and realize, I'm not rushing anymore, but I'm not resting either. There's no urgency, but also no clarity. That's not homesickness, that's dislocation. Not everyone experienced this, and the difference isn't personality, it's how deeply the system shaped you before you left. Once you see that, the responses fall into patterns. Some people leave the US and feel nothing but relief. They adapt quickly, they settle easily, they don't question their internal state. That's because the system never defined them deeply. They participated, but they weren't organized by it. For them, leaving feels clean. Others feel the discomfort immediately, but misinterpret it. They think they chose the wrong place, or they left too soon, or they're lonely, or they're missing something from behind them. So they try to fix the feeling with more routines, more productivity, more stimulation, but the feeling persists. Then there are those who eventually realize this isn't about missing home, it's about losing an internal frame. They stepped out of a structure that told them what mattered, what came next, and who they were becoming, and nothing immediately replaced it. This is where the experience becomes heavy. You start noticing two versions of yourself: the version that functions smoothly inside the US system, and the version that exists now. Quieter, less driven, more observant. Neither feels wrong, but they don't align. And that misalignment creates tension without drama. Humans don't just need freedom, they need orientation. When the external structure dissolves, the internal one doesn't instantly reorganize. So you're not lost. What you are is you're unframed. An unframed identity feels like floating without context. This isn't something you fix, it's something you recognize. Because the moment you understand what's happening, the self blame disappears. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start seeing, "Of course, this feels strange." It doesn't give you answers, it gives you accuracy. You're not homesick, you're not confused, you're not failing at living abroad. You stepped out of a system and you're feeling the absence of its structure. That's not weakness, that's awareness. This isn't the end of the experience, it's the middle. You didn't go back, but you didn't arrive either. And that space, the in between, has its own weight. We'll talk about that next.